Prior to coming to the Hoving Home, I was in a state of despair and destruction. I was living out of a motel with a full-blown heroin addiction, doing anything and everything to support my habit. And I was just so broken, so hurting, and so lost.
Before I came to the Hoving Home, I led a life of addiction, and I was hopeless. Before I met the Lord, I had no hope, and I didn't have any purpose in life. And since coming to the home and just being able to experience this has just been amazing, that I could be in just a professional studio like this and to show you know, what God can do in a life that's just obedient to Him. It's been really amazing.
A year ago today, I was lost on the streets. I was on the run from the law for a prostitution charge that I just couldn't bring myself to face and to deal with the consequences of. So that led me to an addiction that was just completely out of control. And I was so lost and so broken, just searching for an answer to fill that void, to make that pain go away. And nothing worked. Men didn't work, alcohol didn't work, drugs didn't work. I needed Jesus, and I found Him at the Hoving Home.
A year ago, I was struggling in my addiction, fighting for my kids at the time. I had just met the Lord, so I was in a state where I was just lost. I had no hope. I thought I had no future, but God had different plans for me.
Well, a year ago today, I was in jail, actually waiting to come to the Hoving Home, and actually I'm gonna be completing on Friday, and when I was in jail, before coming into the home, I was really feeling alone and desperate, not knowing what to do, but actually also anxious, knowing I was gonna come into the home, feeling like it was gonna be the beginning for something in my life.
Before coming to the Hoving Home, I've never sung at all. I did know that they had a choir, but I didn't know what that looked like or how much effort and work would have to be put into it. But it's been rewarding.
My first impression of the studio, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was definitely different. It had a absolute peaceful feel and demeanor to it that I wasn't expecting. And it just was very peaceful and just a very smooth process, which is just amazing. And when you have so many people coming together on a project, you never know what you're going to get. But it just turned out, and it is turning out to be something just so amazing, something greater than I ever expected.
My first impression of coming to the studio at first was a little intimidating to see all the different equipment that's used in recording, and just to know that it's just on a professional level, and that I've never been a professional singer. I've never even sung before, you know, coming to the home and having to do this. So at first it was a little bit intimidating, but once we got to see how everything worked and we got into the studio, it was fun. It was a fun experience.
The studio is amazing. It's so amazing. I've been to smaller home studios before in my past, but nothing to this scale. And the equipment was amazing. I never realized how extensive the equipment was in a recording studio. So it was just really amazing to see.
When I first came to the studio, I had the privilege of coming the very first visit, and I was just in awe and felt God's presence when we walked in. It was very God ordained. You felt it was very much a divine appointment at that moment.
Recording with all the ladies was fun for me because I am a graduate of the home and I went through the home myself. I am no different than each lady that is in that booth singing. I am just another lady saved by God's grace, and so to be able to join them and to show them that in a very tangible way is just amazing to me.
So when I got the chance to go into the recording studio, it was just exciting to have a new experience, especially when Catrice was up there directing us, and with just the size, the amount of girls that was in there for us to have to sing together, and in beat was it was a little difficult at first, but once we got into the groove of it, it was really exciting.
It was such a wonderful experience. It's definitely different than singing at the choir at the home and practicing, going on our choir meets. We're usually next to each other. I can hear who's next to me, so the headphones was a little different, hearing the music coming in on the headphones and things like that, but it was a bonding experience, to be honest. This has just been such a blessing for us.
Recording with all the ladies has been a very blessed experience. It's been amazing that God has ordained these divine appointments to have with my sisters in Christ.
It's hard. It's a lot harder than I could have ever imagined. It definitely gives me a lot more respect for the profession, for everybody involved, from the engineer to Catrice, who's our director and who's really guided us through this process. It definitely heightens my respect for them, and it's been fun.
My hopes for this project is just that so many people would hear the songs and just the words that we're singing, and just the fact that we've lived this life and, you know, becoming new in Christ and being able for people to hear what He's done in our lives, that they would just be inspired themselves and that they could seek the Lord too.
My hopes for this project are to touch lives like mine, that women that are in the darkness, maybe they can just come across the songs or the CD, the testimonies, and just be transformed and reach out for help.
Well, my hope for the project is that for others that hear the songs and the testimonies, that they will hear that God's grace, what God has done for those, and that they will just see that God is faithful.
My hopes for this project is that women, just like myself and just like each lady that's singing on this CD, will hear it and come to know Christ. That they will experience the life-changing, transformative power of Jesus Christ, just as I have. That you can become the new creation, the old is gone and the new is come. And just knowing that they do not have to identify with being an alcoholic or a drug addict, that they can become new and take on the new identity that Christ gives us.